via Skype, I've got LANCESCURV, a blogger, radio host, friend.
Today we're going to talk business with Brother Leo Danielson, collective economics. There are things that we need to speak on the business level that we just don't do. We are so much into being consumers and spending our money and not letting it last in our community one time or one cycle around. It's very sad. Many other communities, many other races, many other cultures, they circulate their money around and benefit each other as they all begin to start having businesses. Well, not saying everybody else is perfect, but we're lagging sadly behind, and we don't realize that we are undergirding so many other people that don't like us because we bring them our money. The bottom line is that we better get hip as to how money works. We better get hip to start trusting each other, pooling our money together, and understanding that we can move mountains if we do this. But the number one tool is us not to be unified. The number one tool is not for us to trust each other. And on the other hand, those of us who are in business need to be transparent. Those of us who are into business need to be a little more forthright in how we do things and move slowly ahead. We've been damaged on a psychological level so much. We don't know who to trust. We've been scammed. We've been hoodwinked. We've been used and abused. But the only way out is for us to utilize each other, help each other to move forward into this new year, this new decade, this new century for the rest of our life, because too many people are getting fat off of us. It's not acceptable anymore. Last time I checked, Black America alone would be the 11th largest country in the world, just according to their spending money, what they spend. But yet we're poor overall. Few of us have made it, but many of us haven't. Today, once again, we have Brother Leo Danielson, Pope Leo X, and he's going to share his business experience, and he has some things to share, and we're going to go in depth, and we want to share what he knows and vibe, because we're going to do this at least once a week. We're going to have Brother Leo come on at least once a week. Now, Brother Leo, I know that our sound wasn't too good, but if you can hear me, I want you to come on in, and I'm going to sit down and break out my pen and paper and take notes. Welcome once again, Brother Leo Danielson.
Good evening, Global Black family. My name is Pope Leo, and this is our second meeting or second talking about economics and how we should go about it, how we should set up an organization, a corporate organization where everybody will be protected. Well, like I talking before, I started out on my journey in economics when I was within my 20s, and I noticed that there was a lack, a necessity in the Black community. And it was, at first, it was difficult until I heard, I believe it was Abbie Hoffman, one of the, I don't know, he was from the 60s, and he said, just do it. And I always use those words when I was hesitant, or, you know, I was unsure, or didn't have any confidence in myself. And I always said, you know, well, just do it. What I have learned, you know, about economics was that a lot of us have been programmed in such a way where we believe that economics is not a tool that we should use because we're going by principles, whether it's from the Bible or Quran or what have you, that seems to be their guiding light. I have to bring in religion because it's one of the tools that the other society or the other society uses against us to keep us entrapped. For instance, when I started talking about going into economics, I started in a place called East Elmhurst Corona in Queens, and I would say he was unofficial mayor of that area. His name was Trisban, and I was telling him, well, I wanted to set up a grocery store, a little bodega, as the Spanish would call it. And his first reaction to me was, well, you know that they're going to set up they're going to build a railroad down Northern Boulevard from Shea Stadium to Long Island City. And I was taken back by it. And I said, really? He said, yeah, you'll be wasting your time going into it. At that time, the Black community was well, just like it is today. It wasn't doing too well. But I just wondered why did he come up with that? But anyway, I went about my business, and then my first move was to get a store and basically set it up like I would say the Chinese setup. In other words, I would sleep in the back because there was a studio back there, and I would have the front. Well, that was the store, and even then, I was hesitant about moving, but I went back to Abbie Hoffman. Just do it. You don't have all the tools when you start out, when you're going into business, and somehow you want to be perfect in going into business. And so my mind was hesitant of me making that move until like I said, I reverted back to that. Just do it. Just go and do it. And then as you're going along, you would catch on, and it would develop into something, and you would learn on the way. So it's not something that everything is going to be perfect in the beginning, and everything wasn't perfect in the beginning. But I moved from there, and then I started to gain confidence myself, and I moved on to greater things. I went out to a place called Wine Dance out in Suffolk County, and I opened up well, I didn't really open up. A friend of mine, he was in business, but his business wasn't doing well. Reasons I'm not going to reveal right now, but I went to business, and I developed into what it is now. Am I still on? Because someone seemed like they came in and interrupted. Ball. But anyway, I seem like I'm getting calls on this line for whatever reason. I moved out. It was seemed like there's a call on this line, but I guess I would have to get them some other time. Well, anyway, in that venture out in Suffolk County, I had the opportunity of purchasing a row of stores. And in that row of stores, but not at that time, there was a Chinese or a lady wanted to, her name was Annie, she wanted to rent one of the stores so she could put up a Chinese restaurant. And I always wanted to see how the Chinese operated. And after we negotiated whatever, she came in with her store, and I was glad she was in there because I haven't seen really a Chinese takeout go out of business. And as you well know, that they are all over. They're all in the Black community and what have you. The only problem I had was with people or religious people using some form of religion not to aid or to help. Just like when I'm talking we're talking about economics now, and within the last week or so, I went out and I went to various friends, family, and I asked them, well, what do you think about this project in which I'm about to take a journey on? And a lot of them, their first reaction was, well, I can't help you with it, says the Seventh-day Adventists, in which I've talked to. They said because it's open, you're going to open up on a Saturday. You know what I mean? Because I mentioned to them, if we opened a bakery or we opened a Chinese restaurant, and I just threw that out to them just to see their response. And like I said, their response was, I can't help you because Saturday is a holy day. Now, these people, it's not that they don't eat Chinese food, but they couldn't invest into a business where it opens on Saturday because that was supposedly their holy day. So it's just these different reasonings that they use in order to not become part of it. And that's why I say, and I've always repeated, that's why I'm against religion. Not only because of that, because basically I grew up without that handcuffs. I wasn't handcuffed by going back and looking at what whoever did these characters in the Bible did. And I didn't think that was a rule in which I had to follow, because it was always strange to me. You know, this is something that we need. And so I went and I followed in the footsteps of the great Marcus Garvey. But even reading him, I found out that he had his problems with religion also. So religion has always been a factor in dampering or holding us back. You know what I mean? Either through we can't challenge, or you know, it's just something in a lot of us in our mind. I went to a brother that I knew that was a Jehovah's Witness. The minute I started explaining to him, I said, well, what I was about to engage in with him, and he said, well, Leo, this I can't do it. You know what I mean? His reasoning was that Jesus was coming soon, so I'm just wasting your time. And so I'm just using these various examples to show you that this is a big problem with us. I mean, because there's people who actually take this thing, these people, these characters, whether it's Paul or Isaiah or Jeremiah, and they take it as if these people are actually real. They were raised with it as babies, and so they can't realize, they don't realize that these are just characters that someone put upon us, and then they backed it up with really no history. Because if you go back, these people weren't able to put two words together until they met the Egyptians, and then they learned language, or how to put words together. But I just wanted to throw that at you, because that's why that is the problem that we're going to run into. Well, anyway, when I got to know Annie, and I wanted to know how she was able, because she could basically string two words together. You know, she would talk in a halting way. You know, what you want. You know, it wasn't like, she was very fluent in English. And I asked her, well, how were you able to get any money to bring this, to create a business? And she told me that in her village, they came together, and I believe what she said was $60,000, that they came together, and each one of the villagers, they would pool their money together until they gave till she got to a certain sum. And then she took that sum, which she had to pay back with interest or what have you over a period of time. And then she would support, once she paid it all back, then she would still always support that village. So I thought that was a very good means of how we ourselves could bring about change within our community. And it's not going to be on any grand scale to start with. We're going to start out slowly. And I wrote the figures that I thought that we would need individually and then collectively what it would amount to in order to create some business, to create a business, whether it's a bakery or whether it's a Chinese business, takeout. And I put the sum at $100,000. Now, with $100,000, it may seem to a lot of people a lot of money for one person. But like I said, she came up with $60,000, and it was nickel and diamond. And I was saying, if we could get 1,000 people, and each one of them put up $100, right there, you would have $100,000. But before we could get to that stage, we have to have a date. Well, I figured we needed a date when we should be able to reach that goal. And I gave myself April the 15th of 2021 that we should be able from this period forward to create that sum. But before we create that sum, we have to create a corporation. You know what I mean? That where if you have 1,000 people, for instance, each one putting up $100, that means that each one would have a share for every $100 in which they put up. And to create a corporation, it was maybe from $1,000 to $1,500, because you're going to need a corporation in order to go to the bank to open up open up an account with that name. And then people who invest in it, they would write a check out, not to Leo or anyone else, but to that corporate name. And whether the corporate name is the Black Star Line or what have you, I will come up with a name and then create the corporation, and then we could go from there. And then we'll need someone, the officers of the corporation, the treasurer, the vice president, chairman, or president, or what have you. Then we would have bylaws within that corporation. We'll have the lawyers set it all up. And then after that, we would need an accountant, not right away, but we would need an accountant. So once the business started going, then we could keep account of what's going on. And then after a certain period of time, we would know where we're going. I started out with a Chinese takeout because they're everywhere. You know what I mean? And they're not the only ones that, or they shouldn't be the only ones, but I have seen blacks and other people, Mexicans and what have you, in the back with the Chinamen in the front cooking Chinese food. Bakeries, I went into bakery because that's another venture that I think we should take a look at, because mostly everybody, eats some sort of bread, whether it's whole wheat, 7 grain, 10 grain, 15 grain, or what have you. But I was looking at that also, and then I was parlaying or thinking in my mind that the bakery could deal with baking cookies, certain times of the year, just like if you notice every February that the Boy Scout or the Girl Scouts would come out and they would bake cookies for the community. And it used to be $3, now I think it's $4, and really it's like a donation. But if you look at these donations, if if you really take a look at it, the president of the Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts of America, they take it in maybe $900 to $1 million. That's his personal salary. Everybody else is basically volunteering, whether you're standing out in front of a train station or whether you're standing out in front of a store selling cookies, or a lot of them, they pre-order their cookies. And so I was looking at that also as a venture. But the thing is, what we have to do, we have to start somewhere, wherever it is. And I was trying to find the easiest business to go into. You know, I mean, I've been in auto parts, I've been in beauty aids, but they're a little bit more difficult because you have to have the certain types of vehicles. You have to know the vehicles for that area. Every area of auto parts don't have the same belts and hoses and batteries and what have you, because they have a study of that area, the study of an area that's economically, well, it really depends on the vehicles for that area. And then they basically set up their store based on that. And so I thought that would be a little bit more difficult. And so I basically went into, a takeout, and we could, change it or to our likings. You know what I mean? But I figured that would have been the easiest way to go into it. But I'm just showing you, I'm just giving you an idea of the things we could do. But, I still have to harp on the religious aspect of these things, because if you notice, I know a lot of you must know about Chick-fil-A, that they don't open on Sundays. And so I looked up the history of Chick-fil-A, but even they, at one time, was on a Sunday when there was a problem, I believe, at the Atlanta terminal, where people, there was lights out or they lost power, and they asked Chick-fil-A to come in and help on a Sunday, and it was no problem for them. They went in and they did what they had to do, and I think they made over 2,000 sandwiches or what have you, and they helped, and they went against their belief of Saturday, but it wasn't a religious belief. It was a means of their employees getting a day of rest. I mean, just having time off. But it seemed like we, as a people, we take things too serious. We feel that something is going to harm us if we break this code, this religious code, for whatever reason. I'm still, I just think it's something that has been impregnated into our mind, and this is one of the means of holding us back. And our community is the most needed the most. You know what I mean? Like they say, we're the poets, we need it the most. Even though that's not all the way true, it's just basically a saying. But it seems that I feel that we should, by whatever means, because economics should be our foundation, it's our basis. You cannot survive in this world without economics. And you cannot challenge the greater society without economics. when we have been lacking in economics, and it seems like we're not making any movement, or whatever little movement we're making is not substantiated. We will send our kids to the best of universities. We'll send them to be lawyers, doctors, but this is, I could understand that, because I've done that to my kids also. I send them to great universities, what they wanted to be, but I always ask them, then this was my core question. When you go to these universities, are they guaranteeing you a job? You know, if you become an accountant, well, if you go for accounting, when you get out, are you going to be in that field? And their answer is always no. You know, nothing is guaranteed. But if you're spending $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 on your child going to school, and there's only 2 accounting jobs open, and there's 100 kids going in for accounting, surely guarantee someone is not going to get the job. How I worked it, when I opened my business, I knew there was refrigeration. I know there would be electrical problems. You know what I mean? I knew there would be plumbing problems. And so I went to Apex School on air conditioning and refrigeration. That's after I opened up my business, because I knew that these problems would come about. So I took it upon myself to learn after I opened it up, so I would have some knowledge if anything went wrong. And I think it's a mistake on our part if you send your child to be a pilot and you don't have an airplane. I think there's a problem. And so I have always used that as a way to explaining. You know, you don't send your child somewhere and they end up in debt and student loan if you're not able to fit that bill. And when they get out 4, 5 years of this so-called higher education, and then even when they do get a job, they have to start out at the bottom level. And I would like to know the percentage of Black people who have went to different universities studying in certain fields other than nursing, because that's like common, you know, that seemed like an open field. Other than nursing, I'd like to know what percentage of us get that job in which we went in school for. You know what I mean? I don't think there's jobs out there that doesn't require very little of education. Sanitation, man, I don't think people go there for that. You know what I mean? I've seen on television where they have these clerks that they be in the courtroom, and I'm just wondering, you know, they become their typists, and they're taking notes of the defendant and the judge and who have you in that. I don't think there's too many of those needed. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying that there's money that we put it into things and we're not getting not getting our share. We're just throwing money into things that that hasn't come about for us. And so that's why whatever business and when I went into, like I said, I went into air conditioning, refrigeration. It taught me about the laws of air conditioning, how to operate or how to fix a air conditioner, how to fix refrigeration. And I even in one of my businesses, I created a walk-in box, for the beer, the coolers, what have you. But even on that, even with that, if you're talking alcohol or what have you, we're limiting ourselves, and that's what I'm saying. It's causing us to, if you deal with alcohol, say, well, I can't deal with that because but I'm just using these examples to show you how we cut back on ourselves. I don't think there's any business, the Jew, the Iman, or what have you, the Muslims, that they don't go in. And maybe afterwards, once they reach a certain level, they would get out of it. But they started their journey selling everything. I know the people that call themselves Jews, they do. I have seen Muslims selling cigarettes. I've seen them selling beer. And I question them. I ask them, you know what I mean? And they always find a way out of it. That we're staunch believers in this so-called word, and yet our people, we need it the most. You know what I mean? And I feel that we should put that aside for the moment. And if you can't work on a Saturday, then you have to create something where you wouldn't have to. Most of the businesses are controlled by people that don't look like us, and it's very rare, especially when you're coming in on the ground floor, to get a Friday and Saturday off, or if your holy day is Sunday, to get a Sunday off. If you're working, you probably start off with a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, or something of that nature, but you're not getting what your religious beliefs are. And so everybody have stepped on who have stepped on their religion until after they got up to a certain point. And then now I would grant you there are some that they're staunch believers. I know one lady wouldn't allow her daughter, who hasn't had a job in 5 years, because of the fact that she's a Seventh-day Adventist, and she would not allow her daughter to work on a Saturday. Well, that's why I always start off my conversation, because I don't believe in that. You know what I mean? And I would do whatever is necessary to bring about this venture that we're embarking on. I mean, and I'm pretty sure if someone is drowning, you wouldn't care whether it's a black hand, a white hand, or a yellow hand that brings you up. You would reach out for whatever. And I'm saying that we ourselves, we should start just like Annie did when she went to her town or her village, and they helped her out in creating a foundation for her to build on. And I'm pretty sure that if they would have said, no, I don't think Annie or any other immigrant that come to this country without the help of their own would make it. Whether you look at the Spaniards or the Spanish or the Hispanics, they're the same way. They'll start out a business, and then all of a sudden, the business is basically all of those people. And they will then later on, once they become ingrained in the community, and then you'll see them getting not only their own people's money, but they'll start getting everybody's money. And so we have to put that foolishness, as I call it, we have to put that aside and start doing some business. And the best place to start, like Brother Malcolm said, is in the community in which we live. We have built churches galore. I've seen 3 and 4 churches on one block. So this is what I have seen with my eyes. And these churches are not any 2-cent churches. Some of these churches, especially the one built from the ground up, you're talking about millions of dollars. So I don't, I've seen other people, how they used us when my kids were in school. I see how they had this candy bar, I think the world's greatest candy chocolate. I think it was the world's greatest chocolate. It was always $1. You know what I mean? But they would always go to one of them. And you know what I mean? It would never be, for Johnny. If Johnny has a candy shop, or Johnny has any type of business going, they would never come up and say, well, we're going to purchase whatever from Johnny, and then we'll give him that profit, or we'll give him part and we'll keep part. It was always someone else, whether it's for the band or whether it's for T-shirts. It's never us. They never put us in the picture, because it seems like, well, it is that they use us, and we have to start learning how to use ourselves. We have to start learning how to pool our money together. And $100 is not an amount that's anyone or most people, or at least 1,000 Black people, couldn't be able to put together by April the 15th. Whether you $4 a week or what have you, and set it aside until you buy a share. And then once we get this share, you would have whatever 1,000 of that business, and whatever profits that business make, we'll have our bylaws or what have you, and we would distribute it among the members of that business. And that's how I look at economics. When I went into it, it was basically just me. You know what I mean? It wasn't, one time I did have a partner, but that didn't work out for reasons I'm not going to explain right now. But there was pitfalls, you know what I mean? But if you set up the bylaws, which at that time we didn't set up any bylaws, it was just a matter of trust. But if we set up bylaws, then we'll look at the bylaws, and we'll have the treasurer, we'll have 3 people to sign the checks. And so we'll know the in and out. Anyone as long as you follow the bylaws, if you want to know something, you can always go to whoever within the organization, whether the president, the vice president, secretary, and they should be able to bring you abreast of it. So I'm just using the Annie. I call her Annie. There was other things that was different from Annie than from me. I mean, when I had electrical problem, basically, I was able to handle it myself. And if I wasn't able to handle it, I'll just look on the electricity and look at the first AAA or 2As and what have you, the first person in the yellow pages. But Annie was a little different in that she didn't know refrigeration, she didn't know air conditioning, but she knew her Chinese people, because one time she had a problem with her ventilator. A lot of smoke was staying in the restaurant, and it wouldn't, of course, the ventilating fan wasn't operating. So my train of thought was, hey, call AAA electric. And Annie wouldn't go for it. She wouldn't. She asked me, do you know any Chinese electrician? I said, no, I really don't know. I don't know any Chinese electrician. And Annie, somehow, she got a Chinese electrician. And it has always been that experience, or that of dealing, because her mind, my mind thought was trying to get with her mind thought, and her mind thought for me was that I would rather feed a Chinese family than to feed some other family. That was always her mind thought, and this was not, at least from the way she spoke. This wasn't. She didn't appear an intelligent person, but she was intelligent in that aspect. That she would rather feed one of her own. And her bank, even though we were in Suffolk County, she deposited her money somehow in the Bank of China. I don't know how it got to that, but this is their train of thought. You know what I mean? But it seemed that we go to whatever bank, the nearest bank, we wouldn't take that extra mile. You know what I mean? We wouldn't go that extra block. If Johnny restaurant is a mile from where we want to eat whatever food, we would not go to Johnny restaurant. And I bring the name Johnny up because I experienced it. One time I went there. The guy happened to be, not happened, his name is Johnny, because I'm talking the story about Johnny. And it was a Jamaican restaurant. And I said, oh, that's nice. We I could send my family there. Well, I had control of my family. So anytime there was occasion or what have you, I would go to Johnny's restaurant, and I would try to get other people to go there. Well, my family in of itself could not support Johnny's by ourselves. And his food was very good. So one day we had a gathering of people other than my family, and a lady said, well, let's go to Johnny's. And I said, oh yeah, well, that's good. I finally got the thought in their mind. But when we went there, Johnny wasn't there. Johnny was out of business. I mean, is it just because we didn't cater to him? Our thought or our mind was trained to help everybody. Give everybody a shot. Even no matter what pain which we cause ourselves, without forget about the pain that we cause within our own. We're going to help others. It seems like we somehow we want to hurt ourselves for whatever reason. And I have an idea, that we were raised with this notion that the greater we suffer, the more glory we would receive when heaven's gates open, which is, to me, is just a fable. But to some people, a lot of people, matter of fact, 87% of us, this fable is real. It's not something you cannot. I've had many arguments. Now I don't have any arguments. I just tell them, hey, that's your thing. Just don't bring it to me. You know what I mean? If you want to say get money from WhatsApp or whatever, and you want to missionary over in Africa, well, I'm not going to help you. Telling you right now, don't even come to me, because why should you bring that over there? If you're messed up, why are you going to missionary over there and get them jammed up? I mean, they're jammed up enough. You know what I mean? But why would we want to do that? But I'm just giving these little snippets of stories to tell you that we have to to work on our mind. Just take little baby steps. You know what I mean? How do you feel? Because I have felt also that when I went into business and there was Italian on the corner, and I had to stay later at night once after he closed at 6 o'clock in order for me to really get a foundation. You know what I mean? And when I see Black people walking by and going, other places, and it wasn't that my prices, or he didn't get any better prices than I could get, and I wasn't overselling them. My prices was no different to him. This I know for a fact. But it's just maybe his right hand touching a pack of cigarettes, or his right hand giving out beer, or maybe this dislike for one of their own. You know what I mean? So these are things that I have experienced. So I would love really and I know that we have had problems. That's why I want to set up problems as far as people taking people's money. That's why I would like to set up and put it in a corporation, just like the great Marcus Garvey did with the Black Star Line. He had a corporation. He didn't take the money and put it in his back pocket. You know what I mean? He created a corporation, and he took that money, and he actually put three ships, man. In 1920, 1919, 1920, he put 3 ships on the water. And that was a story in itself. The man had to be brilliant, because he put it on the water. Do you understand? He put it on the water. And it wasn't just the sea that he would, from my train of thought, it's because the sea is not owned by anyone. So he didn't have it on land. He put it on the sea where he could do whatever he wished. And if we ever reach that stage, this is what we would like to do. Put a ship on the ocean. And then once that ship is on the ocean, then we could, once you're out in the ocean, and I think it's 12 miles away from land, then you could do whatever you whatever you wish. There's no one holding you back from doing whatever you want to on the sea, because you are actually a floating land. You're an entity in of itself once you get out there. So these are things that, you know, I watch and I look and I wonder, why did he do that? He had businesses within Harlem, but also that Black Star Line. And it's always baffled me why no one have taken that challenge. And I'm sure that Black people could raise enough money to put an ocean liner on the sea. There's no question in my mind they could do it, but you have to have the will. You have to want to do it. You can't have things holding you back, like, you know, Sabbath. I can't work on Saturday. But if you get sick, the doctor, if he's a 7-day Adventist, Jehovah's Witness, or what have you, the First Baptist, or you belong to the Church of God in Christ, or what have you, if whatever your beliefs is, if someone was, if it contrary to your belief and that person would die, you would make that effort. And so I'm saying the same thing. A people that depends on another people for his survival, their time is limited. You know what I mean? It's just limited. And if you use the criteria that what happened to Black Wall Street, so be it. If you want to use that as a scapegoat. But I tell you, just like I'll tell anyone else, they dropped the hydrogen bomb or the atomic bomb on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. This is what this European did. And yet the Japanese still came out of that, and they still building on their own. They didn't use that as an excuse. They went and still did it. And I'm not saying that white people haven't aided them, but they made an effort on themselves. And so we have to get away from that. We have to stop thinking, well, this boogeyman, I call it the boogeyman syndrome, that he ain't gonna let you do it. Well, let's make the move. And then when he comes, you challenge him. It's just like the man that told me about a railroad was coming down Northern Boulevard. You know what I mean? I took the challenge and I said, man, forget about that. You know what I mean? You have the world today is on the verge of nuclear catastrophe. It's on the verge, but people are still doing what they're doing. They're still building houses and they're still building apartment buildings and skyscrapers, is reaching into the heavens or reaching up into the sky. And they're still doing it. But even though there's are we going to sit back and say and wait for someone who, in my mind, and I'm talking about my mind, who's never going to come? If your husband was missing or your wife was missing for 2,000 years, if you would listen to this for 2 days, you would say, hey, there's a problem. But here's this supposedly, this man was missing for 2,000 years. What the date they created and the man they created who never existed, and we're still waiting for it. And this is the trap. There's certain ways in which the conquering forces use miseducation, they use religion, they use force. But the main thing is they use is that psychology. They psych you out. They make you believe they don't have to attack you. They make you believe within yourself, within your mind. And that's the greatest threat of all, your mind. That something, if you do certain things, something's going to come about. That's why all these stories, even this snake with Adam and Eve. Imagine a snake and a female. I mean, I know a lot of women that, hey, they're out of there. Talk about a snake. You know what I mean? They're out of it. So I just look at those stories as just stories. They're not nothing real. No man, it's no God or whatever is not going to hold back millions of tons of water. He can't even hold back a cup of water, let alone millions of water, unless he put it in a pot or something. The cup of water, that's the only way he could be able to control it. But we're talking about millions. You know what I mean? When the Israelites or the Jews, when they took control of the Sinai, they scoured it. They scoured it, man, for years. They didn't find a toothbrush. They didn't find a bone. They didn't find a cup. They found no campsite that these people were supposed to be holding up on. So I mention religion. I have to mention it because the mind has been, the mind has to be reprogrammed. And to reprogram a person who's 50, 60 years old, to reprogram their mind. That's why they catch the child when he's young and they give him these stories. And to me, I thought, well, he'll grow out of it. No, he ain't gonna grow out of it because it's instilled in his mind. You know what I mean? And he keeps it in his mind. And I'm not saying that some of whites are in that position that they're in, but those who are in control are not. This president, he's not into that, holding the Bible upside down. It don't mean nothing to him. This is just a tool. They use tools. The police to hold you in line, but it's mainly psychology. You yourself is keeping yourself back. So I'm saying, we have to create something. You have to create something for yourself, and you have to start the same way Annie started. They pulled their money together, and once they started, and I'm telling you, which is a fact, that once you start, Black people will follow. Once they see the road, they will move forward. And that's all you have to do. And I said, like I started off, all we have to do is just do it. Until next time, this is Pope Leo. Have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Why are we called Negroes? Why are we deaf, dumb, and blind? Why is everybody making progress, yet we seem to be lagging so far behind? Why are we mistreated? Why are we in this condition, stripped of our name, our language, our culture, our God, and our religion? Here in America, all of our religious training has been gotten by the preacher. He has told us of a heaven way up in the sky that we can't enjoy now, but rather after we die. But all of the years that we're living, for us there's nothing but hell, pain, torture, and misgiving. Yet the Bible speaks of a heaven filled with material luxury, which the white man and the preacher has right here, so we see. So, my friend, take it for what it's worth. Your heaven and your hell is right here on this earth. So let's check back into history, which rewards all research and tells us plainly that before the white man gained entry to the East, he was living in the caves of Europe, a ravenous beast, eating juniper roots and eating flesh raw, till God sent Moses to civilize him and teach him the law. Then, following Marco Polo, an explorer, he gained entry into Asia, and Africa. From China, he took silk and gunpowder. From India, he took jute, manganese, and rubber. He raped Africa of her diamonds and her gold. From the Mideast, he took barrels of oil untold, raping, robbing, and murdering everything in his path. The whole black world has tasted of the white man's wrath. So, my friend, it's not hard to tell. A white man's heaven is a black man's hell. Before we came to America, we were living in the East. By the Nile River, we were living in luxury, enjoying freedom, justice, and equality. We wore silken robes, slippers of gold. We were the wealthiest and the wisest people, I'm told. Now we are the poorest of the poor. Nobody wants us at their door. So, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. When the white man came to America, he told the Indian, I am your white brother. He said, red man, I'll treat you the best. Yet and still he pushed the Indian further west with his white woman and fire water. Tricks and lies, he stole America. The original owner of this nation is cooped up on a reservation. So, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven, black man hell. He needed someone to work the land. His back was too weak. He needed you, black man, so he commissioned Sir John Hawkins to commit the worst, most grievous sin, to take a man who's born to be free and bring him down to slavery, to sell a man as merchandise, on his body put a price. Oh, my friend, it's easy to tell. White man heaven is a black man hell.
To the groove, my notice, I lost my love. They're gonna move to the groove, my notice, I lost my love. My notice, I lost my love. They're gonna move to the groove. My notice, I lost my love. They're gonna move to the groove. I noticed I lost my love.
Where the lads and the sister Lily fire burn them. This one called tell them, so they can understand what we are dealing with. Because what? Can't free and come out this Can't free and go on this Can't free and go on this brother, we can't free and go on this Look what them did to we, our ancestors, them back in the days. Yeah. Marcus Garvey, Malcolm X, and Bob Marley. Yeah. You think them not gonna do the same to us? Yeah. After they fight, set us free. Can't free, and come on, this time. Remember we can't free, and come on, this time. Can't free, and come on, this time. We say we just can't free, and come on, this one girl know for 400 years, they're having us down here, not seeing clearly, not knowing exactly what is going on. But we can't free, and come on this same time. Say we can't free, and come on the same time. Come out of this place, go to the place where we really free. Africa, where we supposed to be. Tell them, I guess how we free. In this place, we just can't free. And if you can look, and you will see everything here, and negativity. Wake up every morning and can't be happy. We say we can't free and come on the same time. This is how we can't free and come on the same time. My brother say we can't free and come on the same time. We must have to agree with each other and go home because we are sisters and brothers. Where we come from, this is where we're supposed to be. In Africa, the motherland, continent, heaven on earth. I know church, I know politics. You know see how them God will not turn and push. No them gone, them we no miss. Long time them away, and them are this. Can't free and no more this time. Oh brother, we can't free and no more this time. My sister can't free and no more this time. Say we must can't free and no more this
Just want to say. Yes, indeed. We're premiering at the top of the hour. My mic was a little jacked up. I had the wrong thing turned down. Let's kill a little time playing some music. We're coming back on with a premiere in less than 4 minutes. So I'm going to have to end this and just come right on back to the channel. So you don't need a notification. I'm telling you straight up, we're coming on a premiere with a nice new chat room when this show ends. Top of the hour. Where I am right now, it's 10:56, 10:57. So back on East Coast time, it should be 6:56 or 6:57. So I'll rock one more song and I'll end it. Expect a lot of content. Good stuff. Good stuff coming up. I'm gonna head out tomorrow, out in the street, after hitting the Ant Hill in the Elegy Morning Show, and get more footage. Great shows today. The molestation show that we did, the one we did was segment 7. Brother Leo Danielson, Pope Leo the 10th. Got the Ant Hill Chronicles coming for you. One more. Well, this is not really a song. This is like the news, which I'm not.